We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Wednesday, June 10th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Kyle.
Pleasure to be here.
To have you, and also Jiyoung's with us today.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're now on the third day of the work week, and for some young people, finding a life partner is becoming another item on their to-do list. And speaking of how people are navigating modern life and relationships, more young people are reportedly turning to professional matchmaking services. So to kick off our conversation for today, Kyle, what do you think about matchmaking services?
Yeah, so I believe matchmaking services perfectly reflect modern dating culture. Furthermore, Korean culture in general. So Korea is all about efficiency and the 빨리빨리, the hurry spirit. So everything in Korea has to move fast. To give you an idea, there's an unwritten golden rule when it comes to Korean blind date or 소개팅. Let me ask you, so how many dates do you think it takes for Koreans to commit to an exclusive relationship?
So I'm curious. I know that this is actually quite a crazy number.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, yeah.
Can you guys guess?
I think it's 3.
It is 3 days. 3 days, guys. Within just 3 days, you're expected to decide whether to love that person or not. If you drag it out any longer, it's seen as a waste of other person's time and energy. So if you're not 100% sure, you should step aside and let them hop on their next option. So Korean matchmaking services are simply an extension of this culture mindset. They apply this exact same efficiency to an even bigger life decision, marriage. You filter potential partners by your ideal criteria such as income, appearance, and educational background, and then quickly scout your options within that specific pool to get what you want. It's efficient, practical. It's a very Korean thing to do.
Right. It is very efficient. So what are your thoughts on this, Jiyoung?
Well, I can definitely see the appeal. Matchmaking services can save people from wasting unnecessary time and emotional energy. And if you know exactly what you want in a future partner, then they can help you meet someone who matches those priorities really easily. And unlike in the past, people are not being forced into marriages anymore. They can actually choose. And choosing your partner through these services might even make people feel more responsible for their own decisions. But I also personally have mixed feelings about this, because you're choosing your partner based on specific criteria. It kind of feels a bit unnatural to me. It almost feels like customizing a product before buying it. And I've always preferred to meet someone naturally, which is 자만추. So yeah, I'd rather just fall in love first and then let the relationship just naturally progress toward marriage. So matchmaking services can make the process feel a bit calculated. And also in Korea, where many of us have grown up in a highly competitive society, matchmaking services sometimes feel like an extension of that competition, which is a little bittersweet. So yes, I can understand that, but also have mixed feelings about it.
Right. So matchmaking service may make the search more efficient, but for some people, there's still something appealing about letting a relationship develop naturally rather than starting with a checklist. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. Despite living in a world where we're more connected than ever, many people feel as though it is becoming harder to meet someone special. And while dating and marriage are no longer seen as necessities, the desire to find the one remains strong. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at why more millennials and Gen Zs are turning to matchmaking services, how their ideal partner differs from previous generations, and what really matters when it comes to finding a good person. Just as we saw in a video, more young people are turning to matchmaking services in the hopes of finding the right partner. For many young people, finding a partner isn't just about romance anymore, it's also about efficiency and certainty. So why do you think so many young people are turning to matchmaking services in the first place, Kyle?
Okay, so to understand this phenomenon, we need to take a look at how the younger generation in Korea grew up. So throughout their lives, young Koreans have heavily relied on external support to achieve their goals. A prime example is hagwon, or private cram schools, which plays a massive role in Korean education, whether they like it or not. Most students spend 12 years from elementary school to high school attending these hagwons, just to learn subjects faster than everyone else, all to get into a prestigious university. So this pattern does not stop in adulthood, even when looking for a job. This generation heavily relies on outsourcing. In Korea, we have a hagwon for literally everything, from become a real estate agent or a firefighter or even a flight attendant, like for everything. So this generation has become incredibly comfortable with paying a third party to take the fast track. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, I cannot judge that, but while they might lack the patience or the ability to solve problems entirely on their own, but at the end of the day, they achieve their goals, they get what they want, and they're so used to this process. So in that sense, matchmaking services are just another form of outsourcing. In the past, people utilized these services to get into a good university or land good jobs. Now that same goal-oriented approach has simply expanded into more fundamental human needs, love and marriage.
I guess that was a great psychological dive into why Korean people are so used to this kind of formats, because I think we're so used to more of a curated, systemized type of help and systems. I guess that's why it feels kind of more comfortable. People actually feel more comfortable with that. But for women specifically, this might be actually driven by something slightly different. So what are the women specifically hoping to gain from matchmaking services, Jiyoung?
Well, I think many women turn to matchmaking services because they want more certainty and peace of mind. They want to know who they're meeting, and they want to feel reassured about their background also. When it comes to dating, women tend to prioritize stability. They often want to know important information first, such as what kind of job they have, their financial situation, where they went to school, or even actually they're single or not. Matchmaking services can save a lot of time and emotional energy by providing some of this information in advance and reducing uncertainty. Since many women are dating with marriage and the future in their minds, they also want to know whether this person's actually serious about commitment and ready for marriage. For example, like on dating apps, it's kind of hard to tell that if this person's actually looking for a long-term relationship or like what their real intentions are. But with matchmaking services, people generally feel more confident about the person they're meeting is actually interested in marriage and committed relationship. So I think these are the things that women are looking for in matchmaking services.
Right. So in other words, appeal isn't just about meeting someone new, it's meeting someone who's already been vetted. And those changing priorities are reshaping what people look for in a partner as well. So how do the younger generation's expectations differ from those of older generations, Kyle?
Okay, so everyone's saying the exact same thing these days, like in this economy you do this, in this economy you do that. Because why? Because it's incredibly hard to just afford basic things in this economy. So when you look at the massive gap between what people actually earn and the cost of real estate, which is the most fundamental measure of wealth, achieving what used to be considered the basic of starting a family, like owning a decent sized home in the middle of the city, feels like mission impossible. So because of this, a lot of young people are starting to view marriage as transactional. They are looking for a partner to help upgrade their life. Reaching financial freedom single-handedly seems merely impossible. So sadly, dual income is no longer a choice, it's a must. And people are naturally leaning towards spouses with a solid financial background. So the interesting part is how openly people calculate the financial split when getting married, whether it's the wedding itself, the housing, or the furnishing. The discussions about whether the split should be 50-50 or 70-30 are completely transparent. They openly debate who will provide the housing, who will buy 혼수, the home appliances, which is really expensive, and even which brands to choose. Are we going for the high-end fancy Samsung or AliExpress? So this unfiltered discussion reflects one thing: this generation approaches marriage more realistically than any other generation.
Right, so it seems like financial pressures are making partnerships feel more like a team effort than ever before. It's not just men's preferences that are also evolving, so how have women's expectations changed over the years, Jiyoung?
Well, in the past, having a stable job and being financially secure were often considered as the most important qualities in a partner. Some women were even willing to give up up and just overlook a big age gap for this quality. But these days, women have become more selective when it comes to dating, and their expectations have evolved as well. So personality, financial stability, these are all important still, but appearance apparently has become more important than before. And the beauty standards have changed as well. In Korea, people sometimes use these terms like 아랍상 and 두부상 to describe this kind of different types of attractiveness. In the past, stronger and more masculine looking features, what we call 아랍상, were often considered more attractive. But these days, I think more women prefer 두부상, which is like a softer, cleaner, and gentle, youthful looking features more. And physical preferences have also become more specific. For example, height appears to be to matter more than it did in the past for younger generations. And as a result, sadly, some men who don't fit those preferences may feel a bit disadvantages in today's dating market and may find matchmaking services a little bit challenging to enter.
It's funny how you mentioned height, because I actually saw a reel yesterday about how someone was interviewing the CEO of a matchmaking service, and she said one of the biggest things that actually changed was people looked at height, which was always important, but now it's like one of the number one things women look at. So she was saying it's hard to find tall men, so it's hard to do matchmaking. Right. So while financial stability still matters, for women, appearance seems to be playing a bigger role than ever before. So let's put those preferences to the test with a quick round of who would you rather marry or date with our two panelists here. So the first one is, would you rather date someone 10 years older, average looking, but this person owns an apartment in Gangnam, which is one of Seoul's wealthiest districts, or someone 5 years younger but with movie star looks? Kyle, do you want to?
Okay. Personally, I would choose someone 10 years older.
Okay.
Average looking, but who owns property. Because, I'm not that shallow, hear me out. Okay, first of all, a 10-year age gap is absolutely not a deal breaker for me. Honestly, people just don't age these days. Like, there are 50-year-old women looking like 40s. There's 40-year-old looking like 30s out there thanks to sunscreens and dermatology clinics. And you can still be totally hot with the 10-year age difference, for sure. And you can even hotter if you are a homeowner.
Oh, you're a property owner.
Yeah,
in
like
Gangnam.
you can be hotter. You're hot already, but you can be hotter. So also, like as I mentioned earlier, owning a home is one of the most monumental challenges for our generation. If that massive hurdle is already taken care of, it changes the entire game. And that means we can redirect our incomes to invest in other areas, allowing us to build a much more stable family and secure a comfortable retirement plan. So call me Nuna.
I think that was a very honest and also very practical take.
I'm waiting.
Call him. So what about you, Jiyoung?
Well, I choose the younger guy with the movie star looks.
Okay.
Of course, owning an apartment in Gangnam is very impressive, very attractive, but money can change over time. And I don't think having a house automatically just guarantees happiness and a successful life. And on the other hand, I know some people might feel a bit guilty admitting this, but if I'm being honest, being attracted to your partner is very important.
That's true.
And since the age gap is smaller, I think we'd naturally have more things in common at the similar stages of life. Besides, if he's that handsome, I'd never get tired of looking at him, right? Yeah.
Okay, so our next one is, would you rather date a government employee earning 3 million Korean won, or which is around 1,000 US dollars a month, with guaranteed job security until retirement, or a corporate employee earning 10 million won a month, which is roughly 6,000 US dollars per month, but facing career uncertainty by their mid-40s? Kyle, what's your take on this?
Okay, I would choose a latter one, taking the higher income now. Okay, just think about how fast the value of cash is dropping. $1,000 today is not going to be the same as $1,000 in the future. So if you're getting paid exact same amount 30 years down road, you're basically losing money. So from the financial standpoint, earning more capital right now allows you to convert that cash into hard assets like stocks, real estate, or scaling your own business. That's how you actually build long-term wealth rather than just watching your savings shrink.
Right. So what about you, Chia?
Well, I'd probably choose the government employee. As someone who works as a freelancer, I already live with a certain level of uncertainty already. Of course, earning 10 million won a month, very attractive.
That is very attractive.
But if it doesn't last forever, I think I will become very anxious. And personally, peace of mind matters more to me than maximizing income. So rather than having two people constantly having to worry about job security, I think I'd sleep probably better knowing at least one of us has a secure paycheck.
That's also a very fair assessment of that. So, well, if today's discussion has shown us anything, it's that modern dating is becoming a careful balancing act between love, looks, lifestyle, and also long-term security. The good news, at least everyone seems to know now exactly what they're looking for. So we also wanted to hear directly from our viewers. So we ran a poll on the iDating News YouTube channel asking what is the most important quality in a potential spouse. So here's what the results showed. So nearly 7 in 10 respondents, or 68%, chose a stable career. Prestigious education came in second at 12%, while outstanding looks and significant wealth were tied at 10% each. So it looks like when it comes to choosing a life partner, stability still outweighs both status and appearance. Or perhaps in today's economy and society, a steady paycheck is the ultimate green flag. So to get a more diverse and in-depth perspective on this, we're going to talk to a young person from the UK. And that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts. And cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
So to find out how dating and marriage standards differs in the UK, where professional matchmaking services are less common, we're joined today by Kyle. So hello, Kyle. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So Kyle, what kind of matchmaking services are available in the UK, and I guess how are they perceived?
To be honest, these days, traditional kind of matchmaking services aren't really a thing in the UK. Many of my friends growing up, if they didn't meet in high school, they didn't meet their girlfriend in high school, they find it really hard within their 20s to find a spouse. So these days, I think dating apps is probably the most common kind of matchmaking for people. Services like Tinder has millions of downloads over in the UK. And because of that, I think they're perceived kind of normal now. If you say you met your spouse on Tinder, no one really kind of bats an eye at that.
Okay, valid take, Kyle. Then what qualities do young people in UK look for in a spouse?
With the growing trend of Tinder, usually people look for appearance first, because it's so easy to just swipe people, and it's such a kind of competitive scene for dating out there, for younger people. I think appearance is kind of at the top of people's priorities at first, and then kind of personality comes into it. I think compared to Korea, people look less at career and more kind of at the person themselves.
Well, that's very interesting to see the contrast. So let's get a little more personal. Would you personally consider using a matchmaking service to find your spouse?
I think I would be open to it and curious to see kind of what they think I would be good with compared to what I think I would like. I think I would be very open to it, but I'm not 100% sure at the quality it would give me.
Right. I think that's quite interesting because also in Korea, like we see how it's hard to meet people once you've kind of graduated from college as well. So I guess that's why in Korea, I guess these matchmaking services are becoming really popular. But also, it's also interesting how like appearance is apparently a big deal in any culture these days.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much for sharing insights with us today, Kyle.
Yep, thank you so much.
So we just heard from a young person about the matchmaking culture in the UK and whether he'd consider using such a service himself. And while matchmaking agencies may seem like a modern solution, the idea of getting help finding a spouse is actually nothing really new. So how common are matchmaking services in other countries, Kyle?
Okay, so if you look at this lighter version of this, as Kyle from UK mentioned, we've got dating apps, like which is huge abroad. Match Group is the perfect example. They literally run about 8 different dating apps. But for serious marriage matchmaking, that mostly goes down in big cities like LA, New York. There's this thing in modern cities called loneliness in a crowd. So you're surrounded by millions of people, but making a genuine connection is pretty hard. There are too many fish in the sea, and having too many options actually paralyzes people. So matchmaking services in big cities step in and clear out the clutter and help people make a choice. Plus, we can be real. People in big cities have higher standards when it comes to money, and they expect their partner to match that standard. The cost of living and rent are just as high as their career ambition. So they use matchmaking to find someone with a solid financial background. And thanks to these services, you don't have to camp out on Wall Street during lunch break just to find a finance bro who's making 7 figures. They skip all the steps and match single who are ready to mingle in a big city.
So it's all about efficiency. So whether through an app, a matchmaker, or a family introduction, finding the right person ultimately involves more than a checklist though. So to close off our discussion today, Jian, what matters most, do you think, when finding the right person?
Well, I would say it's whether I can learn from this person and how they treat
that's a
me.
good one.
That's the most important thing. Sorry.
Not appearance.
Yeah, appearance. I just mentioned it because it's a no-brainer. But I want to be with someone who inspires me to become a better person, who supports me, encourages me, and brings the best out of me, and helps guide me when I need it. And I also value someone who shows love through actions, not just words, and constantly makes me feel like appreciated and loved. And most importantly, not the appearance. I want a partner who genuinely puts our relationship first, and someone who constantly keeps thinking about how to make me happy and how to make us happy eventually.
I really love all those qualities you mentioned because I feel like those are the qualities that will actually sustain a relationship as well.
Yes, I do.
Right. So the rise of matchmaking services reflects how modern dating is adapting to changing lifestyles and expectations. And as you learned today, qualities like stability, compatibility, and shared values continue to shape people's decisions. But whether people meet through a matchmaker, an app, or pure chance, most are ultimately searching for the same thing, a lasting and meaningful relationship. The methods may change, but the goal remains remarkably consistent. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Kyle.
It was so much fun. Thank you.
And also Jiyoung.
It was great to be here.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully your future partner that meets your standards is watching this too. We are News Generation.